When you think of some of the most influential names putting big dollars behind the growth of the beautiful game in the US, a few familiar surnames or last names come to mind. We're talking Hunt, Kraft, Anschutz, and Blank. Arthur Blank, who has an estimated net worth of 10.3 billion, built his wealth as co-founder of the Home Depot in 1978. Since then, Blank has diversified his wealth and investments in three sports mostly: football, golf, and soccer. The owner of the Atlanta Falcons is equally as invested in the global football through his AMB Sports and Entertainment, paying $70 million to secure expansion rights for Atlanta United FC of Major League Soccer in 2014, and paying another $165 million in 2025 for the to-be-named Atlanta NWSL team set to kick off in 2028.
It's very special for me, Michael. As you know, I broke that story, and I'm still very proud of it. It was such a great way to finish my last season, and knowing that Atlanta is getting an NWSL game is super, super important. Mr. Blank has been a big backer of U.S. Soccer's move to Atlanta as well, putting up $50 million, hence why their new home is called the Arthur M. Blank U.S. Soccer National Training Center, which already opened and ongoing, and our national team is training there at the moment. While Blank retired as co-chairman of Home Depot in 2001, his former company's investment in soccer continues, as the home improvement giants are helping build soccer in the U.S. as official home improvement retailer of FIFA World Cup in 2026, and as a strategic partner of all of the 27 U.S. national soccer teams, which is a very important, I think, bet on soccer on his behalf. Let's dive into Home Depot's investment in soccer and more on this week's episode of Finance of Football. I am Asli, women's soccer business reporter at The Athletic.
And I'm veteran sports journalist Michael Luray. Welcome to Finance of Football. Welcome back to Finance of Football. They say it takes a village to raise a child. It takes certainly more than a village to raise soccer to unprecedented heights here in the United States. Joining us how brands are building the beautiful game is Allison Kolber, Vice President of Integrated Marketing at the Home Depot. Hi, Allison. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, you guys. Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Earlier in the episode, we talked about how much Home Depot co-founder Arthur C. Blank has invested in soccer, what he has been doing while he has two soccer teams right now, one a men and a women's, and he invested in U.S. National U.S. Soccer's, new training center. We know he's no longer involved in the company at Home Depot, but how his interest in the game shaped or galvanized Home Depot to do the same.
Yeah. Arthur is obviously an incredible leader and was such an, influential part of the sport in Atlanta and in general where soccer's going. He mentioned his investments in Atlanta United and now with the women's team, which is coming, in the National Training Center. But we care deeply about where Arthur looks and is leaning, but we're really just trying to understand how soccer is impacting our customers and our target audiences and how that aligns. And we have been an MLS sponsor and a Mexican national team partner for about 2 decades already. And we are Atlanta United locally, which is obviously close to home for us and where we're based. But this is really about how we connect with our audiences and our customers and making sure that we're in the right places to meet their interests and their passions, and just giving us the opportunity to do that through one of their favorite avenues.
Yeah, I love that. I was going to say, talk about a little bit more about that crossover, right? I feel a lot of brands, especially in the United States, they look at the NFL and the NBA and kind of those other more established leagues here in the US, where soccer is always kind of, it's coming, it's building, it's going to be one of those things. And now obviously this summer with the World Cup, it's going to have its big crescendo moment. But like you said, you guys have been involved in the game for, more than 2 decades with MLS and the Mexican national team. So just talk a little bit more about that you guys have kind of had that foresight and that interest into investing in soccer before a lot of other folks are like, ooh, the World Cup is coming in 10 days. I better hurry up and get involved.
Yeah, if they're trying to go now, they need to really get on it. The time is running out. I know that we feel that every day. No, it is And we connect with our customers through a lot of different sports. I mean, we have a 23-year partnership with College Game Day. We also partner with the NCAA really around March Madness and the Final Four and some of their other sports. But we have found that it's really critical to be where the fan interest point lies. And fans are different. Like, not every fan likes college football and not every fan likes, basketball. And so how do we make sure we are where the customer is? And soccer has long been part of that. I mean, the Mexican national team is one of the largest soccer federations in the United States, which is super interesting, even though they are the Mexican national team. And so they were identified as a partner, I think 23 years ago now, and just a growing opportunity for us to connect with our Hispanic customer and our Hispanic fan in a different way, in a sport that really means something to them. And so as we were looking at the World Cup, obviously this is our first kind of global sponsorship of this nature, given that we're based in North America. We saw in a lot of our research that, like, yes, you have your soccer super fans who have been part of the trajectory for the last 20 years, but this is also going to be that moment, we know, where you're going to have the casual fan and the passerby who's going to develop a love for the sport, and they're going to get to be part of this excitement in this moment. So it gave us a kind of another unique way to lean in and just connect with new soccer fans, in addition to those that we've been community to and partner to for the last 20 years.
I have a question. So soccer's primary audience in the US is basically, heavily Gen Z, millennials, right? Which are your target demographic for the first time, because as they are perhaps buying their first homes, or, fixing their second homes, or their help, whatever their plan around.
Wait, whoa.
Housing.
People can afford homes?
Michael, don't be so
millennials can afford homes.
I mean, I know
Yeah.
as millennials living in expensive cities like New York, maybe we're not their demographic, but there are other people who are luckier than we are. But the jokes aside, I know that this is a perfect moment, like your worlds are colliding, this is a great opportunity. And I think I want to hear more of your perspective on that, like how that is so important for you. And as second question, I know that you're also doing some kind of home improvement show with one of soccer's best names in the world. So let's talk about first how you're going to take this momentum to reach out to these fans. And then perhaps the answer is already in that, my second part of my question.
Yeah, for sure. Well, one, you're spot on that, like, millennial, homeowner, Gen Z, those are our core customers. We need, as you start to come into owning your home for the first time, and even those who don't own their homes and that rent and can do other things, there are small improvements and updates that you can make in your home. And we want them to feel that Home Depot is a place for them. We also know that this tournament, people are going to be, yes, attending the matches, but there's also going to be, there's 104 matches. There's going to be watch parties at home and people having guests over and hosting, and they want to have their outdoor spaces ready to be able to, and their indoor spaces ready to be able to create those types of moments for them. And so that is both the way that we can connect with them in the matches that they love, but also be a real resource in that moment where you're trying to get your home and your special place ready. The other customer segment that's really important to us is our pro customer. And we know that more than half of our pro customers love soccer. And they are critically important to our business. They are in our stores every week, buying the supplies they need for their jobs. And so it really was both our consumer and our pro customer connecting through this sport. When we started looking at the partnership with the World Cup, and when you think about how we're actually going to bring it to market, it was a little bit differentiated from something like the Super Bowl or something like that, because there's so many local communities in which the World Cup is going to be activated across the United States, Mexico, and Canada, all in which we have a physical presence. So it really gave us this ability to be on-site, local, engaging with customers in so many different communities, and having that kind of national and multinational impact beyond anything we've really executed to date. When we started looking at Sir Beckham, we were trying to find somebody who, one, would be recognizable to our target audiences and a soccer person that they love, but also needed to be really authentic to our brand. It was an interesting intersection of finding somebody who's like really authentic to us that we also knew was beloved and recognizable by our core target audiences, that then we can then make the connection of the two. And so, yes, there's our TV campaign, which will be running throughout the tournament, but also the physical activations where you're going to see Beckham's Backyard come to life, with, engaging fan experiences and moments to rest and relax and fun takeaways for customers and fans that are just there kind of getting this once in a lifetime experience, that you're going to be able to have in their local communities. So that's a bit of that background.
Amazing. So we're not too late to start trying to put together our backyards, Michael. You can come help me. Maybe together you and I can put together a backyard project where David Beckham can come. Did you meet him?
I did. Yes.
How is he in real life? Let us, give
he
us
was amazing. Very gracious, like hard worker, coming early, leaving late, just what do you need? And just like lovely to everybody around him and on set.
I love that. Yeah, I don't know if me decorating the alley between my building and the building behind us is going to be appealing for the World Cup. But yeah, like you said, I got about 10 days to kind of get some lights at least set up back there.
Well, hopefully you've got your favorite place to go and watch some matches targeted, even if it's not the alley, which doesn't sound super appealing.
Allison, you touched on some of the great things you guys are doing in the build up to and during the World Cup, but I think a lot of what folks are, I don't want to say concerned about, but they have in the back of their mind is after the World Cup when that team finally, hoists that trophy on July 19th. How do you continue to keep fans engaged with the game and with your brand beyond this tournament, now knowing that there is going to be this dip that we see every 4 years, following a World Cup?
Yeah. I mean, there's a dip, but there's also what happened the last time, which was like the soccer interest in the United States really started to continue to grow. And we've seen in some of our research that soccer for the first time this year was the third most popular sport in the United States. So there's just such a different, I would say, like level of momentum and support that has been occurring. Because we have our partnerships with the Mexican national team and MLS, and as well as the National Training Center, we will be continuing to lean in there and make sure that we're engaging fans and continuing to bring experiences there. We also have our partnership with the U.S. men's and women's national team. So you will just continue to see us lean into those experiences and try to create like new and exciting moments for fans of the sport to engage there and through media buys and things like that, really across the sport, to hopefully some of this like new momentum and energy and these new soccer fans that kind of come to the tournament for the first time, getting to see it live or being part of these watch experiences in their communities, which I really do think is going to be eye-opening for a lot of folks who maybe haven't been part of it in the past.
How do you keep that momentum and brand awareness going after the final on July 19? What do you do to keep the momentum alive?
Yeah.
Is that through MLS? Is that through other sports? How do you do this?
Yeah, I mean, it will definitely be through our other soccer partnerships. We've got, MLS All-Star will be coming right on the heels of the World Cup, so we'll have a presence there and a, big program, but that will be our focus on how do we keep the excitement going through our other partnerships, whether it is the US men and women, MLS or MNT, and just pulling them along. We, of course, will be starting to think about American football and college football season, and a lot of fans are year-round fans, you know what I mean? They are pivoting. As soon as the World Cup ends, they'll be moving on to their fall football, American football, whether that's college or NFL. So we'll have energy there. But of course, we're going to be focused on the activations that we have, the media that we have around our other soccer properties, and just continuing to make those as engaging and authentic and impactful for our fans as possible.
You mentioned MLS All-Star. That's in Charlotte. That's home to, I guess I would say, your biggest rivals in Lowe's. So I apologize for mentioning them in a conversation about the Home Depot. But do you look at what they're doing in soccer? Is it this kind of, I don't want to say arms race, but they're obviously investing in the game. You guys are investing in the game. I think like Coke and Pepsi, like they're doing this, we're going to do this. Do you look at that at all?
Yeah, it's definitely a different approach. And certainly we're watching and keeping eyes on what they're doing, just as I'm watching what Coke is doing and what Adidas is doing and other brands that maybe aren't in my vertical, but that I, admire and look up to, of like how they make fan experiences matter and better. So yes, we're watching them, and, hopefully we have some moments of inspiration, and hopefully they get some moments of inspiration from us. But at the end of the day, none of us succeed in sport if we don't somehow enrich like the fan experience inside the match or inside community events or inside of our stores. And so, we each need to find unique ways to do that. But at the end of the day, we're different brands with, mostly different customers on a day-to-day basis. And so try to use it as a point of inspiration and maybe a tinge of envy occasionally, but hopefully they get a tinge of envy occasionally too. And then take that inspiration across the full portfolio of brands that engage in the sport, and just try to think of more creative ways that we can add to what we're doing for the customer.
Before we let you go, how many World Cup matches are you planning on watching?
I'm watching a lot. I'm going to attend several. My family are huge soccer fans, so we have the opportunity to attend the U.S. Playing Australia in Seattle. So we'll be at U.S. match 2. So we're very excited about that. And we'll be watching a lot. We've got pro hospitality and pro programming where we are hosting pro customers throughout the tournament. We've got to see a lot of these fan fests live and see our customers go through them and make sure everything's working appropriately and that people are having the experiences that they want to have. So it'll be some mixture of, fandom and just trying to make sure that we pull off as close to a perfect tournament as we can as a sponsor.
Amazing.
Yeah. I was going to say that's all research for you, right? You're working as much as you're going to go and enjoy these matches. Like you said, you need to have that on the ground presence to make sure everything's going well. So if you need an assistant or anything like that, there's two of folks right here who would be more than happy to volunteer and carry your bag or anything you need during the tournament.
What's your watch plans? I'd love to know if are you going to be going to, watch parties? Are you planning to go to any matches?
I think we're both very lucky. Michael is a little luckier than I do. He's going as a fan to some of the best matches of the tournament. Michael, do you want to go?
I love how you're hyping it up. I wouldn't consider it luck. I would consider it I'm breaking the bank, like a lot of people, to go to a lot of these games. But I'll be at USA Paraguay, so US match 1.
Yep.
And then I'm going to France, Iraq, and Philly. And then I also have tickets to New Zealand and Belgium in Vancouver. Coincidentally, I'll be on vacation in Vancouver during that, and then a round of 16 at New York, New Jersey Stadium, which always sounds weird to say. So, should be a fun summer.
Amazing. So, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back right after this.
Thanks for having me, y'all. Good to see you.
Thanks again to Allison Kolber from Home Depot for joining us about their investment in U.S. soccer and FIFA and World Cup. The World Cup kicks off in less than 2 weeks, Michael. Oh my God, can't believe we're here. Of course, it's time for our favorite segment, World Cup Date.
FIFA on May 31st announced it's going to encourage World Cup officials to take time-wasting rules more seriously in an effort to maintain pace and tempo for matches this summer. The game's governing body said referees can institute a 5-second visual countdown on goal kicks and throw-ins. If a goal kick isn't taken before the end of that countdown, a corner kick will be awarded to the opposing team. The same if a throw-in is not executed by the end of this clock, a throw-in for the opposition will be rewarded. So it's along the same lines as the so-called 8-second goalkeeper rule that's been in place for some time, where keepers can't just sit there and hang on to the ball and really kill a lot of time. We saw in the Champions League final, Arsenal killing a lot of time here, and the official, especially during halftime, right? They took a lot of time to take that corner kick, and he just blew the play dead and said, we're going into halftime. So FIFA is definitely taking a page out of that book. They want tempo, they want continuity, and FIFA is also encouraging officials to issue red cards to any player covering his mouth while talking to an opponent in a confrontational situation. We saw an issue with Vinicius Jr. in the Champions League where he was abused by a player. So FIFA really is going into this saying, hey, we're not going to tolerate this. Just give them a red card. And then officials can also issue a red card if a player leaves the field of play after being angered by an official's decision.
Well, Michael, I think this is one of my favorite stories of last week. Who would have thought that an Argentine content creator comes up with the craziest idea to find the least followed player in the 2026 World Cup and turn him into an overnight sensation? Tim Payne is hardly a household name, I guess, until now, because the New Zealand's 32-year-old defender now has more followers than us, for sure, but also over many other players in this World Cup. Valen Scarsini identified Payne, who had less than 5,000 Instagram followers, as the least followed player competing this summer, and took onto Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, scream Payne's name from the mountaintops to the world, and it worked. He asked everyone to follow him. And when Payne woke up the next morning, he suddenly had 4 million Instagram followers. I'm just trying to imagine that. Like, one day I go to sleep, no one knows me, and I wake up the next day and I'm looking at 4 million Instagram followers. That must be a huge shock to the player. He recorded a heartfelt message thanking the creator and the millions who now follow him, saying that it was a pretty crazy 48 hours, to say the least. I just wanted to also express that I'm very grateful to be representing my country at this World Cup, and I appreciate all the love from around the world. Muchas gracias, end quote. I wish all the World Cup days were this sweet.
Finance of Football comes to you from the Frequency Machine Podcast Network. Hit us up on Instagram and YouTube at Finance of Football Pod for more football business and our enlightened opinions. Or search Finance of Football on LinkedIn and Facebook. This episode was produced by co-hosts Michael Array and Asa Pellet. It was edited by Ryan Hammond. Mixing and mastering by Julian Kwasniewski. Our theme music is by Hatamitsunami. Our show is executive produced by Ryan, alongside Stacy Book and Avi Glajansky for Frequency Machine. Find more about Finance of Football at frequencymachine.com. Follow us on YouTube at Finance of Football and listen anywhere you get podcasts. Please like and subscribe. Help us reach more people. We love you for it.